Okay, we are in Shmuel Aleph, chapter 13, starting a brand new chapter. It says, Ben Shana Shaul B'Malka. This was the first year of Shaul's rule. And then we have a parenthetical statement, apparently, of Ushtei Shanim Malach Al Yisrael, that he ruled over Israel for 2 years. In other words, we're in his first year, but in total, he only ruled for 2 years, which is interesting too, because you would have thought that he was, from the way the story goes, it seems that he's ruling for many years, but it's only a 2-year rule that he's getting. Okay, so Rashi says, Ben Shana Shaul Malko, what does that mean? Our rabbis say, Ben Shana, he was like a 1-year-old. Shlotam Tam Chet, he did not yet taste Chet, sin. He had not yet sinned, that's what it was.
As a king?
Yeah. Well, is that why? In other words, Rashi's question is, why does he have to say Ben Shana? Why doesn't he say that it was the first year of his rule? Okay, so he says he was like a 1-year-old that he did not yet taste sin, which it interprets Ben Shana Shaul Malko. That's the first year of his kingdom. Rishona Shuhumlach Ba. A simple understanding that it was the first year that he reigned. Vahu Malach Sheishanim. And that he would rule 2 years over Israel, and the first one, immediately he's going to choose 3,000 men. That's why we have at the beginning. He's starting there. Okay, so the next verse is Vayivchar lo Shaul. So Shaul chose for himself Shloshet Alafim Israel, 3,000 men from Israel. Vayush im Shaul al Payim b'Michmash u'Bahar Beit El. So you 2,000 are in Michmash and 1,000 are in and the Mount of Beit El. Okay, the Elef. What happened? I'm sorry. 2,000 with Michmash and Har Beit El, and then Elef Hayu Im Yonatan, and 1,000 be with Yonatan his son, Begivat Binyamin in Givat Binyamin. That's the name of the place. V'yeter ha'am, and the rest of the nation, Shilach ish lo halav. He sent away each man to his tent. And now again, Shilach, for the since we all know the grammar here, Shilach is the PL. He sent away. It's not he sent as a messenger. Shalach, Shilach, sent away. Okay. So Malbim explains. The Ben Shana Shiakatuv, okay, he was ruling, like I said, for the first year, and he chose 3,000 men, and then, the Malb wants to say, he should have said here, he only ruled for 2 years. Virtually more Bishana, Rishona, Machoto, wants to say that in the first year of his reign, he didn't want to fight yet. There was no reason to want to fight. Ki darkam l'sheva beit shana harishona shel acha Esek chadash Paul, because their way was to rest in the first year after the new work. K'mol lekichad isha, like for instance, when a person marries a woman, so he gets the first year off free, right? No army service, no you don't. It's interesting when you marry a woman, assuming that she is never married before, and never married before, it's only on her. So you're supposed to stay home with her. You're supposed to, you're exempt from a lot of things. As a result of that, you can't go into the army. If there's a war, you're exempted. You don't even have to go into what we call, what the wax used to do, the secretarial. When the non-combat, you don't even have to go. Thank you. You don't even have to do the non-combat stuff. You're just totally off. And more than that, in today's standards, they say that the person should not go for night seder if he's newly married. He should stay home with his wife at night. and make her because it's simach edishto. You're supposed to make your wife happy. Now maybe your wife is happy sending you back to the kollel. I don't know. She may be happy doing that.
So you
get out of here, kid. I want to watch my
you're
shows.
away day and night. It's
right. If you're away day and night,
about your wife then. Yeah.
Right. So that's why, that's why it's emphasizing again the newness of the it's a honeymoon period.
So when I was talking about he chose for these. These are many drafted into the army to have them on standby, basically.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. This is his army. Yeah. So, but I'm saying this is the first year. He's getting everything ready. He's, the honor guards, and so they're comparing it to a person who gets married, builds a house, or goes up the aliyah lishvara, or goes up to a new rulership position. Misha and one who engaged a wife or. Again, builds his house. He also wanted to be clean, as it were, for his kingdom in the first year, to supervise over the nation before all the wars with his enemies. In other words, when you take on a new job, and this is, I know as a rabbi, I've had to do this a couple of different times. When you start the new job, you don't know what the new job entails. Yeah, they gave you the job description, and you basically know what your job is. But each time you're going in, even though the people are the same, just change their names for the most part, you don't know. You have to figure out which character is which. Okay, that takes a little while. So they call that the honeymoon period for the rabbi, or again, I assume that's for all clergy, by the way.
Yeah.
I would even assume that's even the same for the working environment.
Sure.
Okay, because it takes you a little while to get used to everything, to know, and the boss will give you a little bit of time. I remember when I went into my first job in Moncton, the president was very sweet to me. He said, "You have a month." After a month, we expect everything going. And I looked at him. I mean, I'm not sure if he was joking or not, but it was it was interesting when he said that to me, because he knew that I didn't really have any experience in the pulpit. It was my first job, so and you figure it out. I mean, the truth is, when you sit down at your desk behind that at that desk, there was no computers in those days that I was looking at, but you're sitting and thinking, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? You have everything in front of you. It's overload. It's just overload, because you have the files, and I never made a bulletin. I never had done any of these things. Really, they don't teach you in the rabbinate that you're supposed to be doing bulletins, how to figure all these things out. They don't tell you the day-to-day grind of the rabbinate. Practical rabbinics. They don't tell you practical rabbinics. What they tell you is that you know how to learn Gemara. You can hopefully you can give a class. They don't even teach you laning, but that's on your own. But you don't learn those things. So now you're thrust into the position, and you're, even if you, by the way, and I had Shimush, so even that you had some apprenticeship, the rabbi who I apprenticed with, I never saw that part of the rabbinate. I would come on Shabbos, so I would see the Shabbos part of the rabbinate, fine. Yeah. But the daily grind, you don't see. So the same thing with any position. I guarantee you, when Mr. Trump sat down in the Oval Office, realizing after all the euphoria of becoming the president, I don't know if it was euphoria, or if it was like, I won? Are you crazy? I wasn't supposed to win. I was supposed to be running at my TV show. Leave me alone. But I don't know what the reaction was, but I guarantee you the first time he sat down behind that chair, he was like, what did I just get myself into? Yeah. I don't want this sort of thing.
The buck stops here.
Right, yeah. And then he has to start signing his name. He has to make it sound like he's doing something. It's very hard to run, and that's why they said the first 100 days of the presidency is what's going to make or break the presidency.
That's the honeymoon period for the
right.
Yeah.
Not even the honeymoon. You have 100 days. Yeah, because you have a little bit of club, but you have 100 days to ride that stuff. And so the same thing with all these things. So he was trying to do that. This was his honeymoon period, and he didn't want to go to war. So he sets up a little bit of let's get my house in order. That's how the Malbim is looking at this. Let's get the house in order. Okay. And then what happens is he sent the men to the nations to the tent. So he only has 3,000 men. And also which implies that also in the time of peace, that a king does not stay by himself. And their portion of 2,000 that are going to be with the king. Why do you separate them in two places? Because look, you had two houses. Once you would be in Michmash, sometimes you'd be in Har Beit El. Then he would find another 1,000, and so what's with that 1,000? He put them on Yehonatan, his son. Okay, because it was because of these thoughts that Shmuel said, Shivat Yamim Tochal Ad Boi Elechas, wait 7 days until I come to you. Said that was, and then I'll tell you what you're going to do. Shekeva and Shirdiu Mashiasav Milchemet Pelishtim. Then I'll tell you what he would inform Shaul as to what to do with the war against the Pelishtim. Then it would be forced to fight with the Pelishtim on the 7th day. That's why Hashem is setting this whole thing up like that. But you have 2,000 men that are with, and 1,000, basically 3,000 like that one. 1,000 in Michmash, 1,000 in Har Beit El, and then 1,000 with Yehonatan and Givat Binyamin.
Okay. Is he dividing up that three? Because it says 3,000. Oh, wait a minute. It says 3,000 from Israel.
Right. So 1,000 Michmash, 1,000 Har Beit El, and then 1,000 in Givat Binyamin.
No, it says 2,000 Michmash.
No, 2,000 in Michmash and...
Oh, and in the mountain of Beit El.
Right. Then you have 1,000 with Yehonatan in Givat Binyamin.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So now what happens? V'yach Yehonatan et Nesiv Pelishtim v'shir b'Geva. So Yehonatan killed the officer of the Pelishtim that was in Geva. V'yishma Pelishtim. Now, the question is, why did he kill him? The fight. Yeah. It started a little fight. After all, I'm the king, I'm the prince. So, okay, we'll kill the guy. It seems and a non-sequitur getting into it. He kills the guy. Okay, I killed the man.
Geva, it wasn't even that's someplace else other than where they were camping at, or where they were.
Geva. Well, we'll find out where Geva was. I think we'll find out. Does he say?
Yeah. So it sounds like like you said, he kind of set on patrol and decided to kill this officer.
Right, but Geva probably was close to Givat Binyamin. I mean, I'm happy to assume it was close. Yeah, Rashi says, Sardo Shahaya Lahem, Ashel, he was the officer that they put on in charge over Israel, V'hoshivuhu b'Givat Binyamin. And they caused him to dwell in Givat Binyamin. So he was living in Givat Binyamin. I guess his office was in Geva, or he was from Geva, whatever the case. But he's living in Givat Binyamin. So, yeah.
At this point, have they conquered Jerusalem yet? Or are they
Who's they?
the Jews?
No.
Right, okay. So
No.
the west of Israel is still Canaan.
The west?
The west of by the sea, or no, Jerusalem's in the middle. So like there are like out what are they called? There are pockets where they're
Israel's taken over by the Pelishtim at this point.
right. Like, but when the Jews came in, they were supposed to take all the Canaan and
Well, they didn't. Okay.
They didn't, and like but now it's Jews, and in amongst the Jews are the cities that have Canaan in themselves, or the areas of Canaan, and the Pelishtim rule over it all.
Right.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to figure out because they're not headquartering in Jerusalem. I was just thinking why they.
Jerusalem will be much later on. That will be with David.
Oh.
So David will buy it from. I forget his name. The Jebusite. He's going to buy that land from the Jebusite. He's going to buy it from him, and then they're going to set the capital up there. They don't really conquer it.
Don't they like burn the streets?
Burn the streets.
Still a different city.
That could be a different city. As far as I remember, David. I mean, I'm going way ahead. I'm using my.
Right.
That's in Shmuel Beit. We're in Shmuel Aleph, but that gives you the indications. Well, we're talking about years down the line.
Right.
David will become, when David becomes king, which will be this right now in the first year, so he's not going to be king for another 2 years, and then he's only going to be, then he's going to have to start taking over too. He's going to, because it's a split in the kingdom. Let's not forget that there will be a split in the kingdom. That you're going to have David and Shaul's family is always going to have some remnant because they were the first king. So the family structure is looking at David's family, Yehuda, as saying, well, you really shouldn't be in the place. You usurped my father's or my relative's spot. Not Yonatan. Yonatan will die in battle, but he always loved David. But the family of Shaul will look, and that's why you have Shimi ben Gera, who will curse David. Again, he is from Binyamin. If you look at the different family structure as we move through the story, you're going to see this amazing struggle between Binyamin and Yehuda, when Binyamin should not. Binyamin. He's from Binyamin. So you're going to see that struggle between these two families that will go up, and then and even with the splitting of the kingdom, you'll see even more. What do you call it? Fractures. Okay, but like I said, Jerusalem is not part of the equation at this point. Okay. So Vayach Yonatan again. Vayach Yonatan had Netziv Pelishtim Asher Geva. So he kills the guy, the officer of the Pelishtim in Geva. V'yishim Pelishtim, and the Pelishtim heard. But Shaul took up a shofar, called Ars Lemor, and Shaul blasted on the shofar throughout the whole land, saying, Yishmu ha'ivrim, let the Jews hear. What should they hear? Shemaradnu b'Pelishtim, that we are we rebelled against the Pelishtim. Yishmu lehem, and they should be guarded from them. Okay, fine. So we have a problem. We have as we were saying in America, we have a problem, Houston. Okay. Is that again?
Houston, we have a problem.
Houston, thank you. Houston, we have a problem. Okay. What would I do without you? Okay. He woke up for that one. Asa, so he said, Asa Zot Shalom Yidad Aviv. Malbim quickly says he did not do this with the approval of, or the knowledge of his father. Umizeh, Nistavev Ki Sham Upalishtim, and for that, then we hear that, okay, Palishtim heard, Validei that, and through that, that's when Shaul blew on the shofar throughout the whole land. Ki Acha Sheshalach Sheshilach et ha'am lo halav, after he sent away the people to the tents, Hushachlo Diyam, now he has to tell them, Shishmu Lahachin Etzmam L'Mechah, get ready for war.
Right.
I just sent you away. I said, have a good time. We're going to get everything set up, get our government set up, figure everything out. We'll have a little bit of a vacation. No, his son doesn't think that's a good plan, apparently, so he decides to go on the attack. Shaul now has to send out the notification of everybody. Guess what? It's time for war. Okay, great.
Just a standing army.
Say it again?
Before that was just a standing army, just to have an army.
Right.
But now they need the entire force.
Well, now beware.
Right.
Right. Whether or not he's going to get whether or not he's going to get everybody involved in the war will be a different question. But he's saying to everybody, get ready, because now we're all under attack. You can take my son for that. Okay. He didn't throw his son under the bus for that, but nonetheless, that's what happened.
Gun ho there.
Say again?
Is there a reason why Jonathan said it's a good idea to attack now? Or it's just
I'm sure that there is a reason.
Besides him being gun ho?
He wasn't gung ho. I'm sure there was a reason. We don't know it yet.
All right.
I forget as we go through the stories. I forget what everybody says about everything. So, but sometimes it's just discovered from the story why we're doing these things. Okay. Either that, or he just felt it was time to. Again, he could have been inspired by Hashem.
Yeah, we have a king, so we can go now.
Right. I mean, that was the point, right? But they're all not listening to Shmuel, because Shmuel said, "Wait a week, I'm going to tell you what to do." So yeah. So all the nation heard, saying he Shaul in the city of Pelishtim, that Shaul. Now listen to this. They heard that what Shaul killed the officer of the Pelishtim. Why Shaul? It was Yonatan.
He's the boss.
Right? The buck stops here. Become Nivash, Yisrael Pelishtim, and also the they smelled, the nivash is to be smelled, how do they say it? Become hateful, that's what they said. And the Jews have become hated by the Plishtim, it's Akwa Achrei Shaul Gilgal, so they assembled. They assembled. Because Aku, they assembled, the nation assembled after Shaul in Gilgal. Again, the word Sa'ak it could also be crying out, and that was Zion says that's how they gathered the people. And what does it mean that they were nivash smelly? It's a Rash, as Mrs. David says, that it meant that they were nim'as Yisrael be'eni pollution, that they were disgusting, and the Jews were disgusting in the eyes of the pollution. So they like somebody who smell. Okay, fine. But that's why they were. And he says he says that they became hateful. Okay, fine.
This is the origins of the dirty Jew. That slur. No. It's not.
No, I don't think. I don't
I
think
think
that's
that's
no.
dirty anyway.
No.
No, right, but that's like the same. It's the kind of universal
Oh, yeah,
slur.
that's
You're a
the-
dirty person. You're smelling.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. Who knows? Could be. Maybe right there. So, Malbim says, so through this, that all the Jews heard that Shaul killed the officer of the police, ki achar chazak ma'aseh Yonatan ve'hechen la'am l'mochamor, because after the action, after he was reinforcing the action of Yonatan by calling for the nation to prepare the war, it was considered as if he, Shaul himself, killed him. In other words, your man did something wrong. You didn't rebuke the man,
And you enforce this point.
and now you're saying get ready for war.
Yep.
So it must be that you get credit. Shkoyach.
Sure.
Thank you very much for putting me into war. Okay.
Yep.
V'gam nevash, again, ki im hayaz emase ish echad me'am. Because why were they smelly or hated? Because if this was the action of one man from the nation, lo bezeh ketzef alav kulam, then they wouldn't have been angry at everybody. Lo kain acha shenas al yad melech. But there's not the case that if it was done via the king, Shem lichu koshel, that everybody had crowned, all the Jews had crowned him as king. So now nivasha am kulo. Now everybody was hated. Everybody smelled. Everybody was rotten by that. Why? By the police, and through this, they all gathered to Shmuel from one side. Yeah.
Oh, so Saul gets credit. It's like
Blame. However,
right, yeah, so, Truman dropped the bomb on Japan. We know he didn't physically do it, but he dropped the bomb.
He gave the order.
Yep.
Yeah, but the question would be: let's say he didn't give the order. Let's say that who was the general with
And he had a
Truman?
rogue general or whatever.
Who was the general with? Anybody
He'd have
remember?
to be the chief of, who would be the chairman, or who would it be? I don't know.
Okay, whatever. his name.
Eisenhower.
Ike?
World War II, right? What are we talking about? World War II.
But it was in the Pacific, so it would have been
Yeah.
MacArthur.
MacArthur, good.
Oh,
so,
for that
so
part
here,
of the world.
so MacArthur,
Curtis LeMay was in charge of the air
Yeah,
camp.
yeah.
okay, so MacArthur would have been the one responsible. So now imagine MacArthur decides, I'm not going to wait for the president's order, Truman's order, forget it. He drops the bomb.
Oh.
Now, what would happen? It wasn't an order. So now, if Truman would say, "Okay, get ready," okay, so that means you didn't rebuke MacArthur. That means really you agree with MacArthur. So since you agree with him, now you have to. That would be the same
So
case.
fast forward a few years ago, you mentioned MacArthur. So go Korea, right? He apparently, I don't remember all the details. Apparently, he publicly stated something against. Who was Eisenhower was already president. He was it MacArthur wanted to bomb North Korea or something, and he must have made some public statements. He got fired for it. Huh?
That was still Truman.
Okay, so
He
52
fired
then.
him.
52.
He fired him.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, so that's the point.
So that-
When you fire him, that means I don't agree with what you did.
Yeah.
So then it's not called by you. But since I agree with what you did, I am responsible for the action. That's what Malbim's saying. And again, the same thing would be, I don't we all assume that Truman gave the order to drop the bomb.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't MacArthur just going rogue.
Because he didn't rebuke anybody,
Right.
so it's his
Right,
responsibility.
so you're responsible. So that's what we're saying here.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Imagine if that happened in Egypt when Moshe killed the officer. If like, oh, the officer's dead. All the
No,
Jews
but they were all
fell.
slaves. They didn't.
I know, but like, if you kill an officer and word gets around that that guy killed an officer, if that's thing, I guess it's a different mentality because we have a king now, and that officer's dead.
Well, that was the point. Since
Right.
we have a king and we all picked, in other words, if we all would have picked Moshe as our leader, and then he would have done that, then we would have all been guilty of the crime for the Egyptians. But since he was acting as a rogue guy, if you will, okay, although he was the prince of Egypt, so really he had the power to kill anybody he wanted. He did. That's the point. He had the power to kill anybody he wanted. And so it's interesting what the intrigue that goes into that. But nonetheless, he was not, because one guy does it, you're not going to blame the whole group. And again, if Yonatan would have been doing it, but Shaul would have said, you can't do that. I'm the king. I didn't give the order. Therefore, throw him to jail. Do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Then the people would have said, okay, the leadership would have said, the police leadership would have said to Shaul, okay, so you took care of the problem. You're a good vassal king. Have a good day.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have said. They wouldn't have done anything. The fact of the matter is, he jumped on the bandwagon and said, "Prepare for war."
Yep.
So everybody knows we're in trouble now. Let's go. And the Philistines are right when they say that you elected this guy, you picked him as your king, and he's Michiganer. I mean, the basic thing is when, again, going back to election times, when Reagan was elected, and Reagan Carter, when Reagan was elected, the Iranian hostages were released very quickly because Reagan had threatened to say, if you don't release them, all we have left is bombs, and we'll bomb you. And the Ayatollah Khomeini said, what is this guy think? He's an actor? He's a cowboy? Kind of crazy thing. But when he became elected, release, get out of here. I don't want, this guy's in Michigan. I don't know what to do with him.
Yeah.
But that's how it appeared to the regular public, because they got out really quickly when he became the president. It wasn't, it was under Jimmy that got out, but it was because Reagan got in. They didn't know what he was going to do.
Oh, he was elected, but before he was installed, you mean?
Before it was installed, before June 20th, January 20th.
Or it's maybe like
Before he was sworn in.
with Trump in North Korea right now. I mean, he sends Pompeo over there, and they have this discussion a couple of months ago, and all of a sudden, Kim Jong-un seems to be cooperating.
What it is, we don't know what's happening. But I just
It's called the crazy man theory.
Yes.
come here.
If he's crazy, I'm going to be just as crazy.
Right. Okay, so what happens now? So Pelishtim Nasu Lechem in Israel. So the Pelishtim gathered to fight with Israel. Shloshim Elef Rechev Eshesh Elefim Parashim. We don't have we have a big army here. 30,000 chariots with 6,000. What's it called? Foot soldiers. They're not foot soldiers. Riders. 6,000 riders. Right, the cavalry. And then V'yam kechol asher alsfana yam larov. The nation was like sand on the seashore. That's how many there were. Okay. Yeah.
And Shaul's got 3,000 guys.
Well, he's going to have a little more. So it's not. And they went up and they encamped against Michmash, Kidma Beit Aven, which was to the east of Beit Aven. Okay. So we have a big army coming here. Yeah.
Do you think maybe the police team is that just their standing army, or do they mobilize really quickly?
I don't know why.
Because it seems like to have an army that big, that ready, that soon.
Yeah.
It seems like they had like the preempt, like, okay, they got a new king, we should probably put an army really close by, and then like, oh, they kill one of the officers. You have that big, really. I guess it's probably like the God thing, the miracles that happen. It's really kind of to mobilize an army that large that quickly is
It's
sort of
right. There, if you kind of take all the stuff out, it seems kind of suspicious. It's like when one guy does something for like countries and stuff. When one country decides to cut off trade, the other country has its army right on the border. You had that planned. You were just waiting.
Well, I'm sure that, first of all, they weren't on the
Right.
border, they were there.
Right.
So the simple answer would be, when they saw the Jews crowning Shaul, they already were angry with that,
Right. So they're just
right?
like, excuse.
So now it's just a matter of, okay, we have a new king, let's be ready, because there's going to be insurrection here. Again, if there's no insurrection, you just appoint a new king, and I get my tax money. What do I care? You know, I don't have to go to you. I just have to go to the president, and I negotiate with him. I don't negotiate with all you people. So I'm just going to the main leader. So yeah, I'm quite sure that they had a standing army like that. That would make sense because they didn't know what was going to happen. Remember, the Jews were rebellious.
right.
Everything else, the Jews were rebellious.
Right.
The Jews, as long as you're in my country, then I want my country back.
Right.
Why is it that we don't, if you will, the smartest thing that the Romans did was kick the Jews out of Israel. That really was the smartest thing they could have done.
Well, after not doing it for a while.
What?
After not doing it for a while.
Right, no, but when we rebelled, the last time we rebelled, they said, okay, enough is enough, destroy the temple, get these people out of here, send them throughout the entire empire. We don't care. We don't want them in this land. Why? Because logically, if I'm on my land, I'm going to fight for my land. Even if you win one day, I'm going to come back at you and again and again and again and again. Okay, that's just how it works. If I believe it's my country, that's what's going to happen. I mean, if you would want to look at the Mideast problem that you have today, that is what you could look at the quote unquote Palestinian people. They're arguing that's my land. What the problem is, the biggest problem is that their leadership told them leave the land so that we can mow down the Jews. That was 48. And they left the land thinking that they'll be back in a couple of weeks. Well, they weren't because God said no. Simple as that. Now, these people are living on the Gaza and wherever they're living, or they went to different countries, but on the Gaza, and they're told their kids, that's where your country is. That's where your land was. Okay, so they haven't been on the land. But that's why they're willing to do what they want to do. Now, there's going to be a time. There has to be a time when the kids will become like we have, where they say, "It may have been an ancient homeland, but I'm happy here." One thing that diaspora did to the Jews was it got us used to living where we are. And we started to call Berlin our New Jerusalem, America our New Jerusalem. Wherever we were, we always made the mistake of saying, this is our New Jerusalem. Now we actually have a Jerusalem, and we're still here making videos. Think about that. We're still here making videos. We're all Orthodox. We all believe in Zionism. We all believe that Eretz Yisrael is our homeland. We all believe that. We say it 3 times a day. There's return with the temple service, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, we're all sitting here. Why? Because diaspora did its job. Okay? It took us out of our homeland and made us think that, it's in the Messianic, all right? In the Messianic times, that's where we have to be, and that's what the Messiah has to do. But it's not for me to do. It's not for me to push the envelope. Okay, so that's really what happened. So their smartest thing was to remove us from the equation, remove the land, remove the people from the land. The only crazy thing is because this is part of the divine plan, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we have this ancient promise from God, which the Muslims do not have, by the way. If you look throughout their entire Quran, they're very one to say it. Jerusalem is only mentioned twice.
And not as a promise.
It's not a promised place, right? It's not, but we have a direct promise from God. Thousands, I mean, there's so many references to Israel in the Torah, it's not even funny. Okay, and so we have been brought up with that. And so we know that Hashem gave us that land, that Avram bought Ma'arat Machpelah, the cave of Machpelah, that Yaakov bought Shechem, and we know how much he bought it for. We have the ancient contract in our Torah. We read it once a year. We have all this history there, and we never stopped learning. And we have that connection because Hashem gave it to us. That's the only reason that we're still here and still pray to return one day to our ancient homeland. Okay, that's just all it is. And that's why, by the way, that we send our kids to Israel to learn, so they have a connection to land. That's also why the non-religious, via what's it called? Birthright. Birthright. They spend thousands, millions of dollars to get kids who are not religious to get a connection to our homeland. Now it's our homeland again. It's not even ancient. Now it's right now it's our homeland. Okay, every Jew's homeland. You prove you're Jewish, and you walk into Israel, you're an immediate citizen. If you want to be. Okay? Why? Because it's my home. No other country has that. So you come to this country, you say, I want to be an American. We say, get in line. Okay? Get in line. Join the line. Either that or cut across it, whatever that's going to do. Become illegal. But, this is how it is. But imagine that you, I, and everybody, for the most part, everybody at the table can go to Eretz Yisrael and say, I want to make Aliyah. And they say, welcome home. Welcome home. Mazel tov. Yeah. Again. Say it again.
And here are the taxes.
And the what?
The taxes, they pay.
Taxes, you get. You have to pay taxes anywhere. It doesn't matter.
No.
Taxes is the cost of living in the country.
Yep.
Welcome to. You want government services?
Right
By the
now,
way, you want
right.
that, so you have to pay for it.
Like
Okay.
all the advertisements just like welcome home, whatever, but like on the sides.
And then real life.
And then real life happens.
Well, it's like when you used to go back to college.
Right.
We used to in UMass Amherst, they used to have a sign, "Welcome back, students." Why they have that sign? Because when the students, you're getting an influx of from UMass alone, 25,000 people came to that area. 25,000 people.
Oh,
That's how many people we had on campus. Wow. So when you have an influx for a small town, it's much more than what you have Notre Dame down here. Much more. And so what happens is the bars are selling everything. Oh, they're having a good time. The restaurants, welcome back, students, because welcome back. We finally got our meal tickets again. For the summertime, it was empty. They can all go on vacation, but it comes that. So yes, when a person comes into the country, we look at them and say, okay, Baruch Hashem, you're helping us spread our tax basis. But nonetheless, that's what it is. Okay. But the Ish Yisrael Ra'u, Kitzar Lo. And so each man from Israel saw that it was a distress to him, that they were hard pressed, okay? They were in a problem here. Why? Oh yeah, Ki Nigash Ha'am, because the nation had approached. V'yitchavu Ha'am Ma'arod. So now the people, that's interesting, they don't say it there. Okay, so what happened? The people hid in caves, in rocky thickets, he says, okay? In rocky crags, uvat richim, and in towers, uvachorot, and in pits. So they were hiding anywhere they could. They weren't interested. They saw they were in a problem. I mean, when again you have 30,000 people, the entire army is coming at you.
chariots.
30,000 chariots, 6,000 riders, and however many.
It's something you want to see coming at you.
So we have at least 36,000 people there on horses.
Right.
More,
Right.
And in the seashore.
and yeah.
Well, right, you have it's the people it look like.
Right,
That's
that's
right. So you have a lot of people coming at you. Okay. So what happened was, The album says Plishtim. So Nes, Umitzad Sheni. So the Plishtim gather on the second side. So it tells that the Jews were in danger. One, from the side of the amount of the camp of Plishtim, because there were 30,000 chariots. And then from the second side, and the other part of the answer was that they came until the end, where the border, where they were encamped in and camping against Michmash. And so Shirada, so they were close to where the king was living, and that's again you had 2,000 men. So okay, so that's why everybody's getting afraid. What we're going to do here? Okay. So the Ivrim Avru et Yarden. So the Jews passed over some, not everybody, but they passed over the Jordan. Eretz Gad Gilad, to the land of Gad and Gilad, Shaul Odenu beGilgal, while Shaul was still in Gilgal, and all the nation trembled after him, which is another example, another interesting word, they trembled. Oh, it says hurried. That's interesting. How did they get hurried from Chardu? Oh, because Rashi. So Rashi says, they ran to go after him. Okay. Chardu. Oh, they hurried in a panic. That's what it says. Charad is a panic. Fine. Okay. So then, what happens is, Malbim continues. Where's it? So the Ivrim, Shayu Karovim El Yarden, the Jews who were close to the Jordan, Lo Hitasvul Ezra Shaul, they said better to decide the values to run. So they didn't gather to help on Shul Rock. Avru and Yarden, they said, let's get out of here. They crossed the Jordan to escape, to flee. But Shaul remained in Galgal, Shetachat Shaya Ro'oi Shetzel the Krada Oyev, that in the place that it was fitting for him to go out to meet the enemy, Bal Yenichu the code at Arav, without allowing them to capture his city. So what he did was he remained in Gilgal. The Al Yaday Cain, and through this, they all hurried after him. Why? They all hurried after him. They were trying to force him or press him to send out the army, and so they could go after the enemy. Don't stay in Gilgal. No, it's protect. That's what we got you in charge for. So it's always good to tell the person, hurry up. Okay, so we will stop here though. We're in the middle of a war. My pleasure.